was 13, my pastor accused me of smoking crack. Story time. So this morning in my quiet time with Jesus, I heard him tell me I need to share this story with you guys. And honestly, this is not a story I ever thought about sharing, ever considered sharing, or that I want to share now. But when Jesus tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. So from the time I was born until 13, I was at church. Like at least 5 times a week, we were at church. My dad was a deacon and he was very into appearances at the time. So we were there all the time. So if I grew up as a Pentecostal First Assembly of God, and one Wednesday night when I was 13 years old, the pastor called me into his office. And I was really excited, y'all. I thought he was going to tell me one of two things. We had this play that we did every year called Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames. A very powerful play. If you haven't seen it, maybe try to find it on YouTube. I don't even know if it's still out there. So I thought, one, he was going to ask me to be in the play, or two, that he was going to ask me to start helping out in the nursery, which is something I had been wanting to do for a while. But it got weird because when we got to his office, he wouldn't let my dad come in with me, which I thought was very strange. But I'm like, okay, I guess we'll see what happens, right? So I go in, and it's just me and the pastor and his secretary there. And he starts telling me about his life, like telling me all the drugs he's done, all the alcohol, just the trashy life he had had before. Um, and I don't really know why he's telling me this, but I'm like, okay. I mean, in my mind, there's this boy drinking and driving on in the play, so maybe it has to do with the play. Maybe he's trying to give me like I don't know, some idea of what to do in the play. And then he looks me dead in my eyes and says, "And I know you're smoking crack cocaine." And I laughed because I thought that this was a joke. It was not. He told me this is no laughing matter. He knows what I'm doing, and Jesus knows what I'm doing. God knows what I'm doing. And God had told him that I need to get help. And this caused me so much confusion because this was the man who I've been told is ordained by God. So I'm like, wait, God couldn't have told you that because God can't lie, and I'm not smoking crack. And he's like, it's okay. We can get you help. You just have to be honest. And I'm like, I am being honest. I don't know what you want from me, but I'm not smoking crack. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never been around crack. And at that point, I had never done a single drug. I'd never even smoked pot, smoked a cigarette, I mean, nothing. It had never crossed my mind. Probably because I was terrified that God would smite me in the middle of the night if I forgot to repent. That was one of my biggest fears as a child, being raised up in a church like that. That if I fell asleep and forgot to repent for something I'd done that day, I was going to hell. And thank Jesus, that is not the God I serve. But this went on for a while of him telling me I'm doing it and me telling him I'm not, and him telling me that I need to be honest and me telling him I am. And he's saying, like, I can't help you unless you help me. And I'm like, I don't need your help. So finally, after about 30 minutes of this, I'm bawling my eyes out and I just run out. I run out the door. My dad's standing there and he asked me what's wrong, but I just couldn't talk. I just took off and I called my mom and told her what happened because she and my dad were divorced when I was 5, so she wasn't in the church and she had had issues with this church too. So I ran out there and called her, and she's livid, of course. And she's sent my brother, I can't remember, somebody came to get me. And y'all, that was a huge point in my life because after that, everything started to change. And my mom and I typed up these letters to put around the church, telling other church members what had happened. Because I'm there every time the doors are open, me and my baby brother with my dad. And now we're never there anymore. And like I've never thought about this, but nobody ever like called to check in or anything. And the pastor refused to apologize. And every time we would go put these letters up on the doors and on the bulletin boards, they would just take them right down within minutes. So I just stopped trying. And then I think that that hurt caused me to be mad at God. And I just want to tell you, I thought I was over this, guys, but I guess like my life changed so much at that point. Like, and I was mad at God for so long, and I stopped going to church for so long, but it wasn't God. This was just a person. So there are tons of hypocrites in churches, yes, but they're just people and they are not representative of God, even if they're pastors, which it was hard for me to understand, especially at 13 years old. So, not immediately, but within a year and a half, I am doing drugs. Um, I started out smoking pot and then taking a few pills and drinking. I mean, to the point where I'm 15 in high school working two jobs to support my drug habit. And it just got worse from there for a very long time, probably 10 years or more, where that's, all I did was stay high. I stayed numb. And it used to be really hard for me to admit that, um, because I carried a lot of shame. But God has freed me from that. But really, I carried a lot of bitterness and anger towards that pastor because I blamed him for it. And I don't think that this would have been my life had that encounter not have happened. I don't think that I would have taken that path if he wouldn't have done that. But God told me this morning, and He's told me this a lot, like, you went on that path for a reason. You went on that path so you can understand what other people are going through and you can tell them that there's a better way. So now I have tons of relatable history when it comes to drugs and alcohol and promiscuity. And like, it's like a completely different person. Like, I can talk about it easily now, that part of my life, because when I do talk about it, it's not even like I'm talking about me. It's like I'm talking about somebody else I used to know. Um, but no, that was me. I was very confused and very lost, and I was searching and searching and searching to fill this void inside of me that could only be filled with Jesus. And so, if you're searching for something right now and you cannot find it, and you've tried everything, and even if you've tried Jesus before and you have some church hurt like I did, y'all, try him again. He's there and he's waiting. He's got his arms out waiting for you. This world cannot fill the void that is meant for God. You can't. There's nothing. There's not enough money, drugs, alcohol, sex. I mean, there's nothing. So I just want to give you some hope today, guys, that if you would just go to church this Sunday. This Sunday is Resurrection Sunday, y'all. It's a perfect time to go try out a church you've been wanting to try, or go with a friend that's asked you to go. If you're seeing this, there's a reason, and it's because he is knocking at your door and he wants you to come back to him. Mm. And he's not waiting up in the sky for you to mess up so he can condemn you. That's not who we serve. Whew. We serve a good God, a God of compassion and mercy. And if you look and you read the Gospels, when Jesus was walking amongst people, right, when he was here, it was not the prostitutes or the drug addicts or the alcoholics or the thieves. Those are not the people that he was hard on. It was the religious people. If you read it, he talked to them the way a lot of Christians talk to drug addicts or look down on drug addicts, or, whatever people are going through. But y'all, go to church this Sunday. Find a church that you're interested in and check it out, because Jesus is calling for you. I love you guys, and I hope y'all have a great day.